In our hearts, we knew home was a pen. Humanity, cattle.
Where do you get off?
I just don't get why you're saying it that way.
Why I'm saying what way?
Forget it.
I will forget it.
Sasageyo!
Shinzo Sasageyo.
He said the thing! That's the thing!
Hit him.
So I'd say it was about 7 years ago. All I owned was a bookshelf, specifically this one right behind me, $60, and a Netflix account. I went to the closest place that I could find comics where they were actually sold, and I purchased my first 4 volumes of manga. That being the first volume of Fairy Tail, the first volume of One Piece, the first volume of Soul Eater, and a small series, you guys may not know what it is, Attack on Titan. Series have come and gone in my collection throughout the years, but Attack on Titan has stayed a consistent bewilderment in my entertainment divulgence throughout the years of me constantly reading different manga. And as of recently, a series that has consistently remained in my top 10 is now coming to an end. The conclusion has finally arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, today we will be jumping in to Attack on Titan, and we will finally see where it is placed in my internal scale and see if it is going to remain one of the biggest powerhouses in my collection and for anime history.
Now.
'I know. You're wondering why these 2 notes of different pitch swing back and forth the same amount across the rest frequency.
We have work to do. I'm sorry.
100 years ago, humanity was at war with humanoid creatures labeled as Titans. Upon their devastating defeat, humankind pushed the remainder of their population behind 3 massive walls. Walls Maria, Rose, and Sheena. Nowadays, the humans live in peace from the Titans, with most of the freakish organisms not doing more than just scratching the stone structure. The current state of peace is something to be praised, but some people are discontent with how seemingly unprepared people are in case that there were a break-in. This is where we meet Eren Yeager. Yeager? This is only confusing if you read the series. A feisty, hot-headed child that has a dream of journeying beyond the walls to see if the world has more to offer than what is promised for him in his self-proclaimed cage. He preaches of the Survey Corps, a branch of the military that are licensed with the task of suppressing the Titans outside the walls and trying to push past their current home. Everyone frowns on him for wanting something like that, risking his life for fleeting freedom that he desires. This doesn't change his mind, as he pleads to his family that this is exactly what he wants. But on that day, everything changed. Upon the Titans breaking into the wall, murdering his mother and destroying his home, Eren proclaims one penultimate new goal: to kill all of the Titans. Now, with Eren, along with his friends Armin and Mikasa, he joins the military to fight back against the Titan hordes and bring back the home that he lost. All of you have heard this before, blah blah blah. If you're a longtime fan of the series, then you know that Attack on Titan ravaged the internet with memes, discussion boards, and fans everywhere. There wasn't a place where you couldn't find, "Oh my gosh, this show rocks! That's a pun because that's how Eren's mom died." What a time to be alive, truly.
I'm a goofy goober!
But Attack on Titan's biggest strength is the slowly escalating stakes throughout the series. Now, what exactly do I mean by that? Let's look at the first arc of the manga. The ultimate threat is the Titans discovering how to kill them and survive amongst the onslaught of the giants. The main villain or antagonistic threat is the Titans themselves, which have been hyped up for so long. But slowly but surely, the Titans become less of a threat as we begin to focus on the human condition and concept of human corruption and the guilt of actual war. These threats begin to build and rise on a monumental scale until it can't rise anymore, building tension with each arc and showing another problem in this world. There are constantly new enemies that would rock the house, and it kept that going throughout the whole series. Personally, the best arc to me was the second part of the 3rd season, or volumes 18 through 22. remember that was when I was caught up with the series monthly, and at the ending of that arc, my world was shattered. I was absolutely blown away. I thought it couldn't get any better. Oh boy. I personally find Attack on Titan's biggest problem to be its pacing. Attack on Titan has always had that issue all the way back from the beginning of the series. My biggest examples being the first few volumes and volumes 22 and 23. The series highs were really high, but it had me bored at a few spots. Overall, I'd say Attack on Titan's story is really strong. It gave so many memorable moments that made me absolutely excited from ear to ear. It truly has been a great time reading, catching up, rereading, and rewatching the series. Until the ending, but we'll get back to that.
All right. Enough.
Tell me more.
Stop joking.
Yes.
Oh boy, this is the part where I get to piss people off by talking about who was my favorite character. Was it Eren? Was it Levi? Historia? Mikasa? Could it be Erwin? Or Annie? Or Hanji? Personally, I was a Marco fan. Justice for him. The characters in Attack on Titan were a mixed bag of vicious, shonen, and useless, all in one. With the beginning of the series, it was made clear that we shouldn't be attached to these people for very long. But what did I do? Become attached. Crap. Our first character is Mr. Jaeger himself, and he himself is a spectacle to me. I've seen it discussed all online about his character and how he has drastically changed, and I believe that it was put very well when someone described Eren as, quote-unquote, a shonen character in a seinen series. His goals were that of a Luffy or a Goku to beat this impossible goal with this hero-like attitude, but Eren was beaten to change his motives and goals to mold around his character. His supporting cast consisted of Coconut Head Boy Genius, a much-needed restraining order, Freakazoid, Flicka, Thing 1 and 2, and Erwin Smith. I also like Hanji, too. The supporting casts are all lovable and fun, making them really easy to fall in love with. I like how each character introduced seemed crazy important to the grand scheme, slowly forming this cast that made every interaction a joy to me, especially the way that they all developed. They all were just really fun to watch grow just from super weak to being stronger and really independent. At the time that the major second arc began, I was confused because we were hanging out with Connie and Sasha and Goddess Woman, lesbian love interest, the guys who helped Eren. But these characters that were hardly there at the beginning were brought into the spotlight in a major way and helped define the series. I enjoyed getting to know the simple backstories or tragic backstories that these characters endured, seeing every heartbreak, every victory, every fight, every meal, just to see these guys interact. Attack on Titan has a great sense of building its characters and making them incredibly memorable, and hopefully they'll stick with me for quite a while.
Pace yourself. Killing Titans is tough work.
Get up! Let me kill you again and again and again! Because the Titans are back. And they only want one thing. To devour every human on Earth.
The entire city's is gonna stand!
Shut up for a second! We're trained for this! Now, Eren and his friends will have no choice but to fight back against impossible odds or die screaming.
If it comes to it, lay down your lives!
The Titans are coming, and humanity is on the menu.
This is it, people! Do or die!
Attack on Titan, premiering next Saturday night at 11:30. Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
Mankind didn't start this fight, but we're gonna finish it.
Slå tillbaka. Hårt.
Okay, there's just not an improper way to digest Attack on Titan, okay? There's just not. Manga elitists and anime-only fans doesn't necessarily matter. Unless you want to wait another year until the anime finishes the series, which, at the time of recording this, y'all gotta wait a while. I'm looking at the series as a whole, and Attack on Titan's anime adaptation is about 90% of what the manga was, so it's fairly accurate beside of a few differences. Who's to say the anime will end the same, which it probably will, but I've been wrong before. With that in mind, I'm going to discuss both the art for the manga and the animation for the series, as I feel like I can't talk about the series without at least discussing some of the animation. For the manga, I honestly wasn't a big fan at first. I know, hot take, But I thought some of the earlier chapters had their characters looking a little ugly, which for some of the Titans it was great, but it took some time for the art to really grow on me. Isayama's style is definitely interesting, but some of the fights, I couldn't even tell what was going on. I think ultimately I like the art, but some panels just irk me to some degree. Even Isayama himself admitted that he thought his art wasn't very good, but at least it was memorable. Now, for the section of animation, we need to have a little bit of a chat. Ahem. Don't send death threats to people that make things differently. The first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan were done by Wit Studio, which are some of the same guys that made that amazing opening to Sonic Riders, but in recent animation they've worked on Vinland Saga. Hello, I mean, like, these guys are really good. Their thick outline style made Attack on Titan's first 3 seasons extremely memorable, with amazing shots and composition that define the series. It was announced in 2020 that Studio Wit would no longer be taking the helm and animating the 4th and final season, but Studio Mappa would take the helm, which, with the way that they presented in the trailer, it looked fine, but none of that footage was actually used in the show itself. And the Titans were CGI. And it wasn't Studio Wit. What Mappa's style isn't anything amazing. I don't think it's the best the series has done, and I don't think it'll get anything near the point that Wit had it at. But please, for the sake of the people who are actually not psychotic, please don't send death threats to animators for them not being the same as the older ones. Just come on. When people complain about anime fans, people like this are the reason it's difficult for me to say that they are unjustified. Let's just take a chill pill. Ultimately, we can all agree that Attack on Titan looks good. Just come on.
You're just gonna sit there?
From the limiter, the now cleaned up wave is fed into the discriminator.
Let's get this out of the way first. Eren is not the bird.
Birds. Birds. Pigeons, to be exact.
The ending for Attack on Titan was a major deciding factor for many people. Some were disappointed, some thought of it as peak fiction, but importantly, what did I think? Because this is my video. It sure was alright. I personally believe that the final few chapters were not top tier material. I feel like it was rushed content and what felt like an unsatisfying conclusion. I think Eren's total shift in character wasn't unwarranted and to some degree made complete sense, but that final chapter just confused me. Ultimately, Eren painted himself as the villain so his friends could be the heroes, but him getting upset about Mikasa just made no sense. Like come on. He destroyed so much of the planet because that was the path that Ymir wanted, and it wasn't his choice. What? He even gave us this very pitiful display after having this detached view from killing everyone? I didn't enjoy that the Titan powers were used to transform the Marlians, then 1 chapter later they were all fine, and in 1 chapter it all got solved, and Eren admitting that Ymir was the one that forced Eren to send Dina to kill his mom. Okay, let's take a step back. I could be here all day, and I feel like I could hear plenty of arguments to why it's one of the best or worst endings out there, and that would get us absolutely nowhere. I think there's no denying that this is a conclusion that didn't wrap up everything it needed to, and therefore failed at being a great finale. Regardless of whether you thought it was genius or garbage, at the end of the day, Attack on Titan has ended, but we had plenty of great moments. But even then, the finale left us with more questions than answers to some degree. The ending didn't satisfy me in the way that it needed to, but the series had moments that I'll cherish forever. I'll end this section with a quote. The ending is really the most important part of the movie. If the first hour and 20 minutes are terrific and the last 10 minutes suck, everybody walks out of the theater and says, that was a lousy movie. This has been a long time coming, and I'm glad that we're here. I've loved this series for a very, very, very long time, and it holds a special place in my heart. I have fond memories of when I first read Eren and the Survey Corps take down Rod Rice, when the group first reached the basement, and when we found out that there were more Titans. Some of my earliest exciting memories of being a manga fan directly correlate with this series and the first time that I got excited for these moments. I can dedicate that to Isayama for making this series as memorable as it was. And although I don't think it ended as a masterpiece, it's still gonna hold a special place in my heart for a long time to come. The moments that were great for the series were still awesome, and that the ending doesn't change what I think about the rest of the series as a whole. With all of this in mind, I'm going to happily give Attack on Titan an 8.3 out of 10. Luckily, the only thing carrying Kodansha right now is Attack on Titan itself, so there are a lot of different ways that you can collect this series. First off, you could always get the individual volumes. You can find these. They're just the regular price, about $11. You can always check those out. That's always a nice way to find them. There are box sets that correlate with the anime seasons themselves, so you can get the first part of Season 1 for about $40 or so. You get about 5 volumes for $40. That's not too bad. If you're one of the freaks that like the Colossal Edition and you just want it all at once, there's that way to go, which I wouldn't recommend that, but different strokes for different folks, I guess. And finally, depending on where you live, you could find different hardbacks, and they're about to release another omnibus version of it, which you could always buy that wherever that you would like to. So just figure out a way to buy this series, because I still recommend buying it. I still think it's a classic, and I would say go for it. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you checking out my video. I know this is a couple weeks late. This isn't really when I wanted to get this out, but I wanted to get this out as quick as possible so that way that I could throw my hat in the ring and try to describe what is right now a seeping cesspool of actual just... oh my gosh.